Hello students, welcome to the second session of Innovation and Entrepreneurship in Biomedical Engineering. In this session, we will learn about entrepreneurial opportunities, types of entrepreneurship, who is an entrepreneur, is he born or made, and finally we will discuss about two theories of entrepreneurship. So let's start with entrepreneurial opportunities. As per Professor Casson, entrepreneurial opportunity are those situations in which new goods, services, raw material and or organizing methods can be introduced and sold at a greater price than the cost of production. So it means whenever we are able to generate some business or let's say profit from new ideas, new goods, services, raw materials, and even some organizing methodologies which are able to give us profit. That but there are four types of entrepreneurship, and most common out of these is incremental venture. In the first type, incremental means when the business what we are going to incremental venture, they are most common, and this means when the business is a very incremental advancement of some existing ventures. Okay, for example, if a new business have been started, let's say by the Cadbury chocolates, by changing the packaging and adding some nuts and grains into the similar old chocolate. Okay, they are just adding a very small incremental change into their existing system. So we will term them incremental change. Or similarly, if there is some startup or some entrepreneurial activity which is based upon incremental value addition, that will be termed as incremental venture. So it means whenever we have a small change, that is called incremental venture. Innovative ventures are those where there is a disruptive kind of technology have been there, disruptive changes are there, it changed the whole scenario of that particular business, we'll call it as innovative venture. Okay, third one is imitative. As the name implies, when one venture is imitation of the previous one or some existing model, we are copying from one model to into the second model, that is called imitative venture. Okay, for example, we have KFC and McDonald's services are similar to each other. Similarly, one more example is Swiggy and Zomato. So they are imitative ventures. Okay, say one is imitative others ideas or others business models. So we can term them imitative venture. The fourth one is rent seeking, where we believe that this rent seeking term came from their royalty or their patents or their copyrights or some recipes from where the new company will give some royalty or some money to the parent company from where they are getting some license. Okay, so to make more franchises of a one particular chain, that is called rent seeking. Okay, again I can quote the McDonald's example, that if McDonald was there in Delhi and somebody wants to open a franchising store here in your small town, then he has to contact to their. Now next thing what we need to discuss is a very interesting point, that whether entrepreneurs are born or they are made. Now since there are two kind of people, one kind of people believe that entrepreneurs are born with some inherent capabilities, whereas other class of people believe in that they can be made through their skills acquired. Either they can acquire it through learning, through experience, whatever say we can say about it, but they can be made. So means we can make the entrepreneurs by acquiring the skills. They can learn the skills. If a human being is able to acquire the skills through its experience, by going to some management schools, then we can say they can be made. And definitely that is why there are so many successful stories of from management institutions. It means definitely we can make entrepreneurs by teaching them some skills which they can acquire through their learning as well as experience. But yes, there are few traits in few people which they are born with, and we term them inherent capabilities. And we will discuss how these two kinds of people are different from one another, and what the entrepreneurial theory says about it. So before going to the theories, let's discuss who is an entrepreneur. uh, there is not fixed or a single attribute that defines any entrepreneur, but there is a mixture or combination of different traits that describes who is an entrepreneur. So these are some of the points, like entrepreneurs have risk taking ability, they have very good perception power, they have intentions or willingness to exploit new opportunities, they are very optimistic, they have internal locus of control. Yes, this needs to be explained a bit. Internal locus of control means when a person is self driven, he is not being driven by the society or somebody else. If he needs to achieve some goal in his life, he know that only he can do it, and they do more hard work on their own because they have an internal locus of control. They are self driven. Then some other characteristics are that the entrepreneurs are creative, and they are risk averter, and they are ambitious too. Okay, so these are some of the characteristics which can define an entrepreneur. Okay, what an entrepreneur does. So these are the few activities, not all, and we have tried to write them in a sequence. So let's discuss these few activities. What we believe that most of the entrepreneur do these activities in their life, if they are termed as entrepreneur. First and most important is they should be able to identify any opportunity, entrepreneurial opportunity, in fact. So they identify the opportunities. Second is they invest resources, and whenever we think about resources, mainly it is time and money. Okay, so uh, whenever we invest time and money, definitely we'll get something out of it as an output. So after investing their resources, they start taking risks. Then they create some organization, collaborate few more people who are from different backgrounds. Once an organization is there, they try to develop that opportunity, and then after developing the opportunity, they exploit on opportunities in a bigger way so that they can scale up their business. And one another important thing they do is they do generate surplus so that their organization can sustain. So it means it is not always that whatever profit they are earning, they are just doing those few expenses on their own, but they also generate some surplus money among with them, with the organization specific. Okay, now let's come to the two theories which are related to the entrepreneurship. These two theories explain in a different way when a person become entrepreneur, what are their characteristics and so on. So the first theory is based upon the human traits, and that is why this is called trait theory. The basic idea is this says that human behavior is traced to the combined effect of individuals' inherited capabilities. As I've already told you, that when we believe that a person is born with some kind of characteristics, it means that particular class is believing in trait theory. Okay, so it means a person's own characteristics drive him to be an entrepreneur. Whereas the second theory, that is social learning theory, this theory believes that human behavior results from an individual's past learning, current perceptions, and of course higher level processing of thinking. Means they do um, more processing on a particular venture, on a particular innovation, on a particular problem statement. They do more and more iteratively, they work on it, and finally they achieve some skills, they acquired some skills. And this theory says that human behavior is driven by the society also. It is not only inherited capabilities, it is also how the environment outside that particular entrepreneur is. So that is why here we have cited two examples. One is of Israel, where the people of this country are most of the time challenged with the war like situation in their country. So even if they are making some food, they are more concerned with shelf life of that particular food, how to make better preservatives, because they know there are many a times lockdown in their country due to war like situations. So their food must be in such a way that if even if they opened up a particular processed food, it must have a longer shelf life. So it means whenever they do some kind of an activity, most of the time they are facing some challenges, and this challenge drives them to be innovative, to be an entrepreneur. Okay, so it means there are some conditions around that human being which drives to be an entrepreneur. And another example is of the Netherlands, where uh, 70% of their land is below the sea level. So you can imagine how difficult the farming is there in their land, but still they are able to overcome of this challenge by using a few techniques and marvel engineering, water engineering, or what we say. So it means there are some societal impact on their day-to-day life, so that they become a better person in terms of entrepreneurial activities, entrepreneurial mindset. So the second theory says that social arena of a particular person also drives him to be an entrepreneur. And I think we are feeling this kind of a change in the Indian ecosystem also. From the past 4 to 5 years, we are listening to government's many policies related to startup. I believe before 2013 or 12, very few people know what is startup and what is entrepreneurship. But nowadays, um, even 80% of the students are aware of at least these two, three words, if not in detail. So that is how the society is being changed. And here comes the social learning theory. Trait theory believes in Big Five. This says that human personality is a combination of different personality traits, and even um, it's not only five, but there are number of personality traits. But yes, we can club them into five major categories, and that is why we term Big Five. And these are openness, conscientiousness, third one is extraversion, fourth one is agreeableness, and fifth one is neuroticism. This is the last one is related to negative emotion or affectivity. Let's discuss in more detail. Yeah. Big Five theory is also termed as ocean. Yeah, I recommend you to remember this theory with this name, ocean. OCEAN. Now, once again, we will repeat what we have learned in the previous one, and this time we will remember with ocean. So, O is for openness. Openness means openness in imagination, in feelings, in ideas. Okay, so this theory says that people either have low scoring or high scoring in this particular trait, but definitely they have some kind of acumen in this particular trait. Okay, so imagination, feelings, ideas, they all are clubbed into openness. Second group of traits is conscientiousness. This means self discipline, or the people who are goal driven, who are thoughtfulness. Okay, they are hard working, and whatever they believe, they do that particular task with their heart. So that is called conscientiousness. Third one is extraversion. Now the people who are socially active, extrovert, okay, we quote those people that they have very high extraversion score. Okay, so the people who are outgoing, who are socially active, they comes under this category, extraversion. Fourth trait is agreeableness. This shows that how a person is trustworthy, how a person is cooperative to others, how good natured he is, whether he's helping his colleagues or not. Okay, and now comes to the last one, that is neuroticism. This is related with the neuro kind of cognitive ability, and it specifically related with the emotions. Okay, so if a person has tendency towards unstable emotions, that is, he is not emotionally stable, and he can be easily driven by the challenges around or in his life, so we can say his emotional stability is less. Okay, so many of the personality traits comes under this particular category. So there are major five categories which can be named as OCEAN, and we will remember them as ocean. Okay, so big five are also named as ocean. So they are same, big five or ocean, but this is a better way to learn them, to remember them. So this ocean is basically a trait theory. It says that a person has some traits, or he developed these traits during his experience in a business arena. Now coming to the social learning theory. This theory is based upon three factors, and we cannot say this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one, because they work in a cyclic way. The first one is, let me start with a person's own behavior and how he interact with the environmental factors, means his society, people around him, rules and regulations, the place where he lives, the people with him he meets regularly. Okay, so this all becomes under environmental factors. So whenever there is an environmental social change, those kinds of uh, driving forces made few changes in his personal characteristics, like cognitive abilities, effectiveness, biasing toward a particular kind of political parties, decision making abilities. Okay, so we can say that environmental factors are the major forces in few people to acquire or learn new traits or new skills, which will again change their behavior. Now this reshaped behavior will again go to the society. Okay, learn more environmental challenges, factors, again his personality will modify a bit. So this is a complete cycle, and as I've told you in the few past slides, when we quoted the examples of Israel and Netherlands, so those are the two best examples of social learning theory. When our society facing few challenges, and our society drives us to be innovative, to be entrepreneurial, that is called social learning theory. So that's all in session 2. uh, what we have learned in this session, we will do some lab activity based on this. and I hope you will really enjoy that activity, because that is a hands-on activity, and you will learn about yourself as well as your friends, how they are psychologically different than you. Okay, so with this note, I'll summed up my this session here only. So thank you for watching this video. Thanks.